Hey guys, welcome back. So, Iron Mine is done. I'm making a decision right now. I'm thinking through this decision. The decision is there a reason to continue this factory? Or is this pretty much all that I want to do in this world? So this started off as just a demonstration of Factorio 15. I started, I think, like a couple days after it was released, or maybe a couple weeks. And I think we basically demonstrated. We went through a couple changes as the versions upgraded. I remember I had to switch from using something to mining drills. But in terms of like the factories I like to build, as you can tell, like with nukes, and I can build as many nukes as I want, these guys don't stand a chance. They're just not a threat anymore. I'm producing massive amounts of pollution, which frankly isn't that big of a deal. Occasionally the pollution will get out and affect the enemy bases, and they'll attack and do some damage, and they'll run over there and fix it, and then destroy a whole bunch more alien bases. These guys, I don't know if this is optimum or not, but it's pretty close to being optimum, and I'm just going to set up more and more of them as to get more and more resources through. My power array, I have some ideas for how I can improve my power array. But I'm thinking of sticking to coal, because coal makes huge things and lots of pollution. It's cool. I could go nuclear though. I haven't experimented with nuclear power plants. I kind of don't really want to. Why? Why is that? Why am I not interested in nuclear power plants? How do I explain this the right way? So, one of the things that happened at Bob's Mods, and it kind of turned it off for me actually, is the modules became ridiculously powered. Just completely overpowered. And the effect of having the mods that were the modules that were ridiculous, you didn't have to build big anymore. You can just build fewer things that does more. I know that sounds powerful to people, but to me it's not really that interesting. I'm the kind of guy, I want to build big. I want to find an excuse to build big. Like over here, this is the kind of stuff I like doing. It's like figuring out how many things I need, putting it all together, so that we can keep this thing running without stopping, That's interesting for me. For some reason, we're not getting enough. I don't know why. Maybe because it's not backed up here yet. I'm not making enough of these things. Probably former or ladder or whatever. Whatever. But, and then, throwing modules into everything just adjusts the balance, so it changes the ratios. But with Bob's Mods, the ratios become ridiculous. The second thing about this factory is from the very beginning, I wanted to try out an experiment. I'll show you what it looked like over here, where I had main bus intermingling with the pipes, and I thought maybe I can get away with it, but no, you can't. It just makes too much of a mess, and it's just ridiculous. The fourth thing, or the third thing I'm on, is I think about halfway through the 15 series, they introduced the blue belts and red belts have longer underground, and that changes everything. It really does change how the belts work, and it kind of makes doing a lot with yellow belts pointless. Like, it's just ridiculous. To me, it feels ridiculous because I'm used to the old style Factorio where everything was only 4. And I can just lay out belts of 4. But now what I'm doing in my other series is I'm laying out belts of 3 with 2 spaces in between, so that when I do go to blue, I can just add more stuff in between it. It's just kind of silly. Really, it's just silly. Changing the underground belt length changes the dynamics of the game, and how things are fit and put together. It's just annoying. It really is that you have to go through and change your designs when you upgrade to faster stuff. Well, I guess that's what's supposed to happen when you upgrade, is you get, different designs. Fifth thing. So, as you can see, clearly demonstrated here, I can make as much uranium as I want. I mean, a ridiculous amount of uranium. It just takes forever to get started because you have to wait for your centrifuges to produce that initial seed of 40 or whatever. And once you get the 40, then you can start, exponentially increasing your co-Rex enrichment process. And I think that's cool, and maybe, building a nuclear missile every second would be interesting for people, but why? What's the point? It doesn't really seem to have a lot of purpose to me. You know, it used to be when victory condition was to launch a rocket. The old missile base from the early versions of Factorio. I don't even know if that's earlier anymore, but it used to be that you would you'd try to build a base to launch one a minute, and the thing required so many resources. It was so ridiculously expensive to build in the first place that you would have to build huge factories just to build a rocket, you know? And as you can see here, like, yeah, I guess I can build more steel, you know? Steel would, well, I'm kind of short on iron ore. I could probably fix that. You know, I can, you know, patch up the supply here and there, but it's just not difficult for me anymore to build a rocket. I think the first time I built a rocket was like maybe like a year after I started playing. I just never really wanted to finish, you know, quote finish the game. So I'm gonna pursue the mega base, I think, more. I'm gonna keep my really expensive Factorio running on YouTube, the mega base. I might do something more with Bob's Mods. Keeping this series alive as well. That'd be 4 series all at once that I have to keep in my head. And keeping 2 series in my head was difficult enough. It's a challenge, you know, to figure out what I was thinking and have some continuity. The thing that was interesting about this series that kind of made it exciting for me was I was going to get back to building rails. And as you can see, yes, I'm building rails again, and you can see the trains and stuff. But I was doing some calculations and some thinking about rail transport. And I'm, you know, I want to build, you know, 1/8 trains or 1/16 or some ridiculously long train, and that was that one series. I don't know what series that was, but I had like a train that was 100 cars long. I was very proud of that. That made me extremely excited about the game. Of course, building such a huge factory is ridiculous, and it's you know, you can imagine what that must have looked like. You know, when you have to like walk for 5 minutes wearing power armor with all the upgrades, just to get from one end of the train to the other. That was cool, though. And the train, when it moved, it was unstoppable, and, you know, it was just cool. So I kind of want to get back to that style of play where you have the huge trains that are just lumbering across the map. You know, these 1/4s are pretty close to that. I think for many people that play this game, 1/4s are pretty dang big, you know, but for other people, they're just not a big deal. And I understand that. For me, they're just not a big deal. But I do want to... The train design I have here is... I think I'm going to go with this. Let me show you what I mean. Well, I can't go there, obviously. But I'm going to have very wide. The loops are critical to making the trains work. I don't like having the trains cross each other. It's just... There's too many chances for things to go wrong. And so loops is where it's at. And I know that there's that joke that one of my heroes... what's his name? I want to say Captain Proto or something like that. I don't know if that's his name or not. But anyway, but the joke is, you know, it's a 0 out of 10 because it has loops. When building loops in Factorio means you're probably doing something wrong. I'm of the opinion that, no, loops are great. It's the bidirectional trains that I don't like. Because in real life, the engines can go backwards or forwards because they're all electric powered. It's a diesel engine that powers an electric motor, and they can go backwards and forwards. And it's the same. You know, it doesn't really matter that much which direction it's going. But whatever. So yeah, trains. I'm going to build a bunch of trains. I want to build a bunch of trains. I have this desire for trains. Trains is what I want to do. And lots of trains, hundreds of trains, moving all around the map with huge loads, just lumbering across the map. You know, tick, 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 tick. Arriving, you know, every once in a while with these huge loads. I can do a bunch of research that I haven't done yet. I think I have, well... I think almost all of this is infinite research. Fuel reprocessing, probably not. Effect transmission, Braking force, whatever. Inserter capacitor bonus, whatever. Who cares, you know? So, yeah, I think this is my factory. I think I will put this in the can and call it done, especially now that 15 is now mainstream. It's no longer experimental. So, in that regard, let's talk about the factory, how it works, what it does. So the core of the factory, the center, is where you get the resources from. And you can see here that I have this stacked array that I'm pretty proud of train unloading stations. So we have stack inserters unloading to boxes, and the boxes unload to blue inserters, the express inserters, and these combine together. Each one of these two of these makes one belt. So 2 groups of 6 makes one belt. So we have, we have 8 groups. So that's 4 belts. And then so I do a 4-way balancing. And then I have these massive arrays, 8 wide, and they feed into these massive arrays to refine it down there. At the bottom of this stack, I have copper, I believe, a couple coppers, 4 coppers, 5 coppers, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 coppers, and there's a steel here hiding somewhere. There's a steel. And the ratio for iron to steel is 1-to-1 still. It's just the steel doesn't come out as fast, and so if you want a full belt of steel, you need several steel factories. Don't know the correct number, probably 5 of them to get one full belt of steel. But what would you do with the full belt of steel? Anyway, down here I make my gears, and as you can see, it's a pretty serious operation. It takes 2 full belts of iron and makes 1 full belt or thereabouts of gears. Gears are pretty important. Gears are used especially to make my blue belts. The blue belts just suck the gears down like crazy, but it's also used in some recipes for science. And here I have pipes. I put pipes on the bus. Pipes are a 1-to-1 ratio of iron. So you can see here I have a splitter taking 1 belt of iron, putting it on both sides in a somewhat haphazard manner. And I have pipes. I have lots of pipes. And I put pipes on the main bus because I didn't want to build pipes locally. But the times you use pipes is pretty rare. Here I have my green circuits, which is basically 1, 2, 3 groups of 5 on each side. The 5 is you have 3 coppers, wires, and 2 electronic circuits. You have the iron on the outside, the copper on the inside, and then you're basically inserting it onto some belt. And so I have 6 total groups of that. So 6 times 4, 24 green circuit factories. And down here I have early experiments at building a better red circuit array, but I was really not pleased with what I did here. My newer design where I put like 2 groups, two of these and 2 of the wires, and then 12 reds. It works even for yellow belts. And it gives you pretty good throughput. You don't need that many red circuits to do research and things like that. So here's the bus. Oh, let's look up at the oil refinery. So I didn't have to actually ship oil by train yet because the oil field was ridiculously wealthy. So I'm tapped over here at the oil field. You can see it's up there. Watch for trains. You can see the pollution is killing all the trees all the way out here, making tons of pollution. And the oil field was very rich, and there's still quite a bit I can tap. And the oil is just coming down, is being piped over underground pipes, and then not really stored in this tank. But you can see that that tank will tell me whether I have enough oil or not. And so we have 20 furnaces, I believe. Let's count how many furnaces I have, or refineries I have. 17. That can't be right. I thought I had 20. Well, I meant to have 20. I meant to have a multiple of 5. When I expand things, I try to double it so that I don't have to do so many expansions. I have logarithmic or exponential growth there to apply a logarithm to the growth factor. So refining to light oil, if there isn't enough light oil, and refining to, I think this one's not wired up properly. No, it is wired up properly. And then over here we make our grease, our lubricant. And then I brought it down and I mixed it with the bus, and I'm still kicking myself over this stupid decision. I tried it, now I know why it doesn't work, and everybody else knows why too. And here is my mess of a bus that I keep promising to redo, but never quite got around to. So, yeah, redoing a bus. Once the bus is laid down, you don't want to touch it. It's just messy because you have to rewire everything, and the wiring is some of the most time-consuming parts of building your factory. So here is my research, the red science and green science, building 1 a second roughly, thereabouts. That's the factor. I have 30 research labs, and just feeding in and feeding to each other. You couldn't do this in previous versions of Factorio, but now it's almost necessity. Otherwise you'd have a really big area for the belts to go in between them all. Here I'm making more red circuits. I didn't tear this one down. It's still running. It seems to be working okay. And then we're making blue science here. Blue science takes a mining drill, which I'm not getting any mining drills. Why is that? What's going on there? What is it, no gears? Where's my gears? Where's my gears, dude? Oh, I guess it ran out of iron. Now it's coming back online. Yeah, so the mining drills take 2 seconds, I believe, to build. Yeah, they take 2 seconds. So if you want to build one a second, which is what you need to build one blue science a second, you need 2 factories. So there's my 2. Here's I kind of stormed because I was using them a lot. And so there's the blues. They get shared with the military research, which I built next. Here, military research, you need to build different things for it, including grenades, which is nice, and machine gun turrets, which I use. I haven't used any laser gun turrets. I don't know how they work in this new version. I'm not interested in finding out either. Okay, so and then the military research comes up and joins with the blue research, and so we have one on each side of the belt. Now I'm building my H2SO4, sulfuric acid from sulfur. And I had it so there's 2 here and 5 of these guys. The ratio is backwards, completely wrong. And so I had to fix that. So that's what it looks like now. Then batteries. And then over here, I'm building more factories and more mining drills. I think the reason why this is here is because when I built this at the time, the blue factories required like assembling machines. And so I had this and I never really used this. So I have a bunch of mining drills over here as well. Should turn this off eventually. Here is, where's my engines? There's my engines. I'm building 10. I think I need to build 20 to keep the factory running at full capacity. These guys, they all want one apiece for the electric engines. And then here I'm building a load. Or I should be building, but I'm not. What's going on? No iron, no steel. Okay. And that is where I'm building my furnaces that go into research, and they just come down here for the purple research. This is really expensive to build the purple research. It's difficult to keep it running, but that's nothing compared to what I had to do with the blue circuits. Holy cow! In order to get one blue circuit a second, you need to build ridiculously. These guys, they take 10 seconds to build. I think I needed more than one a second because I needed to feed some other things here. And here's all of my level 1 speed modules. And these speed modules and the blue circuits, copper plates and batteries are fed into the yellows. And so there's the yellow science, which I have a huge backlog of. And finally, just last episode, I think I finished my rocket array. So here's where I build my blue inserters, my blue belts. As you can see, they're really hungry for gears. Generally, by the time I get here in my factory, I start thinking about building a bunch more gear assemblers. And I'm pretty proud of this factory. I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. I don't know why there's a splitter here, but whatever. Robotic frames, which means I have plenty of robots. I have my 50 logistic robots that I've never used, and my 50 construction robots. Over here, I built some things for power, because expanding power is difficult. Sulfur to make dynamite, and to make rockets. And there's my nuclear missiles. I can throw in some more. I think you're short on uranium-235, but I can bring a box down to uranium-235. We can build a bunch more of those. Tank shells that I experimented with. Tanks were pretty cool. They became obsolete pretty quick. Flamers, flamethrowers, inserters. You need those. I'm surprised I waited all the way here to get inserters built. I should build that as part of the green science. And here I'm building my combat robots. Yes, destroyer capsules for the win. They're the best. And here I'm building more assembling machines. I totally redundant factory because I wanted more yellow factories. And there's a bunch of yellow factories. And my rocket, of course, that I built last episode. That you can watch that episode if you want to see how I put that together. And it's woefully underfed. But I think we're at 30%. So we're almost ready to launch it. If I get my steel back, probably just need to bring more iron ore and everything will start working again properly. One more thing I wanted to cover was my power array. And this is how I built my power. I'm not happy with this. I'm really not happy with this. The ratio is 1 of these to 2 of these, and you could tell that because you can see, if you look on the right-hand side there, these guys are 50% efficient, and they do 3.6 megawatts of energy is how much they need to go. And these guys over here can produce up to 900 kilowatts of electricity. So these guys produce 1.8 megawatts. These guys use 900 kilowatts. 900 plus 900 kilowatts is 1.8 megawatts. So it's a ratio of 1 to 2. And I believe somebody figured out that you can only have 20 in a pipe before the pipe gets full. So that's what's going on. So I have, ready for this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these guys for a grand total of 320 steam engines that can produce up to a very large number. Are we not making enough power? We are. We are. That bar should always be low. So we can produce up to 320 times 900 kilowatts. So close to, I'd say about 300 megawatts if I were guessing. What are these guys doing here? Let's pick them up. They're on the ground. Sorry, dudes. I didn't know I didn't have you. Had to lay down a bunch of landfill. Oh, I have alien biomes turned on. That's probably why it looks different. I have alien biomes turned on. That's pretty much a tour of my factory. Over here I was doing stone and some more coal on this side. So I was thinking here I built like 8 stations so I can bring in like, you know, not 8, but 16 stations so I can bring in a lot more junk. You know, so stone is being turned to stone bricks. And, you know, we can just start laying down stuff like crazy. So I have crazy resources right now. And here is my nuclear process. And here's a detailed close-up of what's going on here. Let me just explain. So these guys, when they run, they produce 41 U-235. And they use 40 U-235. So basically you're taking 40 and you're getting an additional one back. And it takes 5 U-238 and produces 2. So we're using 3 U-238 to make 1 U-235. Okay, so we need to have the U-235 flowing in. This guy will pick up U-235. He will not pick up U-230. No, he will pick up U-238. He will not pick up U-235. And this guy will drop off the U-235, and his stack size is set to 1. So he only takes 1 out. So the moment this guy produces, this guy starts pulling everything out. This guy pulls out 1, and we have him set up. We have him programmed to not do anything if these belts have anything on them. So he will not pull anything off while the belts have nothing on there. And you just missed it, but it shoots up and comes off, you know, using underground belt there. So I probably could eliminate one of these guys, or I can have 2 of these guys unloading really quickly, but that's how that works. And so he comes down here, and this guy loads it all up, you know. And this guy doesn't pick up anything as long as there's something that's on these belts. So that's how it works. And so over here we're producing, let's see, this guy has a 99% chance of producing U-238 every 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds we're basically producing 4 U-238. These guys run every 50 seconds, and I think we have, so 4 every 10 seconds. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, some large number. I think it's balanced out so that if I wanted to expand this, I should expand these. Of course, by the time I got that much U-235, I had a ton of U-238 stacked up. So basically these 3 chests of U-238 can be turned into 1 full chest of U-2... Ooh! That's a lot of U-235. I had no idea I had so much. Let's go build some nuclear missiles as kind of a going away gift for this factory. I don't think I'm... Yeah, this factory doesn't excite me anymore. I'm more excited about building the mega base. The more I think about it, I want to build the mega base. So... And if you missed it, the mega base is going to be on VidMe. So you have to go to my VidMe channel and follow. Don't subscribe, follow. If you want to subscribe, you can, but I don't think the subscribe button is going to be there by the time you find it. Okay, nuclear missiles need nuclear material. There you go. He's going to take 50 seconds to make 1. And I think I have plenty of stuff here. He needs, what's the ratio? 20 to 30. So 20 of these for every 30 of these. So he needs 1, 2, 3, 2 to 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 divided by 3 is about 4. So we need 8 stacks of blue circuits. 8 stacks of blue circuits. Ha! Ha! Let's go pull it up. There you guys go. Get back to work, you lazy bums. Come on. Make me some blue circuits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's close. It's probably have some there already. So I should be able to make out of that. Let's see. So every 30 makes 1. So 3. So 10, 20, 30, 40 missiles. I should be able to make about 40 missiles. And there's a missile right there. Let's go load it up right now. And since I'm not going to save this episode, let's go blow something up. Fire! And I died. 53,000 trees that I had to kill. 5,000 big biters, 5,000 medium biters, 1,800 big spitters, 1,700 spawners. That's crazy. No, actually 2,400 spawners if you count the spitter spawners. I did a lot of damage. I did a lot of damage. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.